Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. Early voting opens for March primary elections, when and where you can cast your ballot. More than 100 volunteers are needed for a project honoring thousands of area veterans. And the U.S. military launches more strikes on alleged drug smuggling boats.
Well, it feels like, summertime with temperatures in the 80s for the next couple of days, but next week you'll actually need a sweater, and we'll talk about that coming up in a moment.
Plus, a civil rights leader dies. How many are remembering him today? That's just ahead. And you're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm Don Brubaker in for Shauna Curry. Early voting is now underway in Victoria and across the state. Early voting for the March 3rd primary runs through Friday, February 27th, with the election day on Tuesday, March 3rd. Polls are open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays through next Friday, and 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. this Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. this Sunday. Early voting takes place at the Patty Dodson Health Center, located at 2805 North Navarro.
These elections are going to determine what the future of Texas is going to be. There are so many people in this state who want to see maybe one thing more than anything else, and that is to keep Texas, Texas. Your ability to achieve that goal begins today. Don't stay home. Go to the polls. Make sure your vote counts.
And once again, early voting in Victoria County is through February 27th. Many of the volunteer fire departments inside Victoria County are now better equipped to fight fires. That's thanks to a recent equipment donation. Due to the recent restructuring of the Victoria County Fire Marshal's office, which made each volunteer fire department in the county its own separate entity, the County Fire Marshal's office was left with quite a bit of equipment that was no longer needed. Fire Marshal Dan Porter said there was only one sensible solution to this problem.
That equipment, like I said, was just sitting around, wasn't being maintained, wasn't being used for anything. So we felt that it was best to get with all the volunteer departments around the county and see who needed what.
The equipment included tanker trucks, Kubota tractors, and brush trucks. The volunteer fire departments that received the equipment include Lone Tree, Raisin, and Victoria County Volunteer Fire Department. Let's go to Mac Pettis for the first look at the forecast. Mac, things are settling down just a little bit around here, but it still doesn't feel like winter. I'm not complaining, just saying.
Well, that's the thing, that sooner or later, these 80-degree temperatures they can't last forever, or will they? But for this week, they're going to be with us. We're getting a very strong south wind, all of it rolling up into the plains in advance of this major storm. You'd think this frontal system would help us out, but we're going to have to wait for this front coming through by Saturday, and that's when the north wind kicks in, and it will not be in the 80s. As a matter of fact, it'll be in the 60s for next week. We'll talk about those two monster winter storms and what it's going to do to our weather coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don?
Mac, thank you. For nearly 2 decades, the Field of Honor has turned gratitude into action, honoring veterans who are still with us and those we've lost. Now, as they get ready for their 18th year, they're asking the community to step up and volunteer. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with a colonel involved in the effort. And Ray, what did he tell you?
Well, Don, Colonel Mike Bertrage with Warriors Weekend Field of Honor says this event sends a simple but powerful message. Our veterans are seen, valued, and deeply appreciated. He says it's about making sure every service member knows their sacrifice hasn't been forgotten.
It's imperative that the United States, and I'm just going to talk about this area right here, right now, continues to honor their veterans and their service and sacrifice. We have, I guarantee you, there's over 10,000 living and deceased veterans from this area. And it's so important not to forget what they have done. It's so important to honor their service and sacrifices.
Field of Honor typically brings out more than 100 volunteers, all coming together to recognize and honor fallen veterans. Just to name a few, the services needed are landscapers, maintenance, and historians. Colonel Bertrage says there isn't a strict checklist to volunteer, and that honor, excellence, and integrity are the key qualities he looks for.
We want people who understand and who appreciate the service and sacrifices of our veterans. And so whatever it is and however you use your talents to do that, we'll put you to work. And more than that, we will appreciate you.
Field of Honor wants to plant 3,000 flags in the field, and family and friends of the fallen warriors have the opportunity to do so.
I wasn't wounded, and so I feel a special burden, I guess it is, to honor those who did get shot at, who were wounded in action. Some of those, and to honor the families.
Colonel Petraj says anyone, no matter your age, can step up and volunteer to honor a veteran. For information about events coming up with Warriors Weekend Field of Honor, come to crossroadstoday.com. Don?
Ray, thank you. And if you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. The U.S. military launched another strike in the Eastern Pacific and the Caribbean on Monday. U.S. Southern Command says 11 people were killed in the strikes on 3 alleged drug smuggling boats. The military has not provided evidence that the boats or people on board were involved in drug trafficking or proof of the number killed. The U.S. has launched more than 3 dozen similar strikes that have killed more than 120 people, the Defense Department reports that. Generations of people are remembering the life and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson today. ABC's Christian Cordero has more on how the civil rights icon is being remembered.
He was a civil rights giant, standing shoulder to shoulder with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and working relentlessly for decades to make marginalized people of all backgrounds feel seen. Reverend Jesse Jackson died peacefully in his sleep, according to family, at 84 years old. His daughter, Santita, remembers her dad as someone of tremendous courage who cared deeply for his family.
He said, I'm not going to leave you a lot of money. The money I've made, I follow Dr. King's example, I give it to the movement. But what I will try to do is give you a rich life, rich experiences where you're going to meet people, you're going to see things. Some of them will be famous, some of them will not be, but they will all be important.
Jackson famously formed a rainbow coalition of marginalized groups, a mission that still operates today at his organization's headquarters in Chicago. He ran for president twice, in 1984 and 1988.
I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had a shovel programmed for my hand.
It would take 2 decades for Jackson to witness the fruits of his labor. He was overcome with emotion while standing in Chicago's Grant Park in 2008 as then President-elect Obama declared victory. Today, Obama shared in a statement, quote, "Michelle and I will always be grateful for Jesse's lifetime of service and the friendship our families share. We stood on his shoulders." Reverend Al Sharpton considered Jackson a mentor and today implored people of all generations to make sure his legacy endures.
Jesse Jackson changed American politics. Jesse Jackson changed the civil rights movement. He was a consequential and transformative figure.
Over the years, Jackson was asked many times how he would want to be remembered. His responses were pretty consistent, often saying he wanted to be remembered as someone who never stopped serving. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Actor Shia LaBeouf is facing battery charges after he reportedly assaulted 2 people during Mardi Gras celebrations in New Orleans early this morning. Police say a staff member at a business tried to remove LaBeouf after he reportedly became aggressive. That's when LaBeouf is accused of punching one victim, then hitting another person in the nose. LaBeouf was held down until police arrived. He was injured and taken to the hospital before being released and arrested. Privacy concerns around video surveillance and artificial intelligence. It's a topic getting a lot of attention following a Super Bowl ad for Amazon's Ring doorbell and its search party feature, which uses AI to help find lost dogs. Michael Yoshida joins us to break it all down.
It's a Super Bowl ad that had some throwing a flag.
I saw it live, and it was one of those, uh-oh moments.
Ring, the Amazon-owned video door company, promoting its search party feature.
One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs.
It should be heartwarming, but a lot of people are reading something very sinister into it.
Ring hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing, but the ad did spark conversations around unwanted surveillance, AI going through and analyzing videos, and how the technology could potentially be used.
There's absolutely...
Why is a Ring competitor even putting out this satire video, highlighting privacy worries and public distrust?
We could find literally anyone, but we only use this technology to find lost dogs.
A lot of this is people speculating about how the technology could be used in the future by a bad actor, rather than necessarily bad behavior that's happening right now.
Ring's founder says the company prioritizes customer privacy, and the application's use is limited.
Right now, the search party feature is literally just built for dogs. So it's built to look for dogs, to tell you if the dog is in front of your house, and then you have the decision to, contact the owner or not.
But experts say concerns over what comes next shouldn't be dismissed.
These technologies are getting so advanced and so sophisticated, we can't just ignore the implications and the risk.
These same things that are treated as privacy risks for some people are actually kind of a feature.
In Washington, Michael Yoshida.
Sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. Federal investigators released their final report on a deadly aircraft collision. Also ahead, new research examines what a 7-day digital detox can do for your mental health.
For a growing number of people in our community, nighttime doesn't mean sleep. It means survival. 25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting takes a closer look at homelessness here at home, the challenges people face every day, and what's being done to help.
Being able to go take a shower and rest and good to go to work the next day and be comfortable without having to go to work dirty, that'd be awesome.
Life without a home. Thursday at 10 p.m.
The NTSB ruled a chain of errors led to last year's deadly mid-air collision between a Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines regional jet. The NTSB released its final report on the crash today. It did not identify a singular cause for the crash, which killed 67 people. Instead, the report blamed multiple failures that took place across different parts of the government, including the FAA and the Army. The report also listed 50 safety recommendations, and most were directed to the FAA. Scaling back social media use, even for just a week, can have a major positive effect on your mental health. Here's ABC News' Michelle Franzen with more.
Young adults who took just a 7-day social media break saw noticeable improvements in their mental health, a new JAMA Network Open study suggests. After a week off apps like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, participants reported lower levels of anxiety and depression, and even insomnia. Those who started with more severe symptoms had the greatest benefits. Researchers say constant scrolling can amplify stress and negative comparisons. Short breaks can give the brain time to reset. The long-term effects of taking a social media timeout are still unknown, but in the short term, a simple digital pause could offer a real mood boost. To give your brain a break, try spending a little less time online. See how your day feels without so much focus on your social feeds. Use that extra time to do one small thing that grounds you, like taking a walk or reconnecting with a friend in real life. With this Medical Minute, I'm Michelle Franzen.
The Nancy Guthrie investigation is facing a setback. The sheriff says DNA from gloves found near her home did not return any matches. It was processed through the FBI's DNA database, which contains more than 19 million offender samples. It also does not match DNA found at the home. DNA from the property is still being analyzed. Detectives are also reviewing evidence they got through 2 search warrants executed last week. The Sheriff's Department says investigators are showing local businesses the doorbell video released by the FBI to see if the suspect looks familiar. This week, the Pacific Coast is facing multiple storm systems, bringing heavy rain and potential flooding. Reed Binion reports as winter weather alerts were already in effect across parts of California, Nevada, and Oregon. That comes ahead of 2 anticipated systems.
One of the things that we're concerned about with this storm is winds. Winds have been expected with gusts up to 60 miles per hour.
Authorities in Southern California reacting to the first of a series of storms threatening the Pacific coast this week.
Heavy equipment operators, we've set up a swiftwater rescue team that's ready to respond, aviation resources.
The National Weather Service extended a flash flood warning Monday for parts of LA County amid reports of flash flooding and rock slides, with heavy rain forcing road closures due to mud and debris slides. Of particular concern, the possibility of debris flow on the burn scars from last year's massive wildfire.
This is all new mud, and some of the debris, you could see some of the burnt pieces of wood from the fire.
In Northern California and the Central Coast, the severe weather resulted in flooding and road closures and prompted rescues.
Felton firefighters actually went around and were able to hike and get to those two people to make sure that they were okay.
The storm also causing downed trees and power outages. Meanwhile, in the Sierras, there was heavy snow. And while it made roads hazardous, it was also a welcome sight for some, including skiers. The winter storm also pushing into Nevada, with slick conditions snarling traffic on parts of Interstate 80 at the California-Nevada border.
I knew there was going to be snow today, and I should have left yesterday instead of today, but oh well, I'm stuck here now. I can't even drive.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Well, good evening, everybody. Yes, we'll talk about those two big western storms right about now. We had a nice sunshine today, a little bit of cloud cover, and of course, that morning fog. We got 75 degrees right about now, but look at that. The winds are at 24 miles an hour. That is a sustained wind, and so it's going to be on the breezy side for the next couple of days until this whole system passes. Our high was 80, our low this morning 53. We'll be talking about some warm weather for this week, but then actually cooler weather for next week, and we'll talk about that after this. So the winds are strong here in the crossroads because everything's flowing up into those two big western storms. You can see how the winds are flowing all the way up, and in fact, right about here in the Front Range of Colorado, they're looking at 40 to 50 mile an hour winds. This is a very powerful storm. This is the first one that came through the West Coast. Here's the second one that's dropping down. You can see this sort of marbleized cloud pattern. That is very unstable air. So it's great because they need the rain, they need the snow, but it just all happens at one time and it causes all kinds of problems. The rain already pushing down into Southern California. But that second system is the one that's actually going to pass through here and cool us down. We won't be in the 80s next week. We'll take a look at the next 5 days to see if any kind of rain comes through our region. What do you see? Not much. There's a sprinkle possible when we get to Friday as the tail end of that front comes through, but there's really no significant rain as pressures have risen over our area and given us that bubble on top. That's what we were trying to get rid of last week. Here's one view. You can see this first storm actually moving northbound. That's why the energy is going that way, and this front is not going to pass. Then this one's dropping a little bit farther south, and that's that front right there that's going to eventually cross our area, but it won't be as productive in terms of precipitation as that for us. We're going to be looking at, of course, some wind behind it that's actually going to give us a little bit of a north wind, and that's where we get the cooling temperatures. But the two storms are good for the western mountain regions, but it's tough going. Look at this. We'll be at 85 tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, and then we get that little front and we get a little bit of a cool down. You might need an actual, I don't know, sweater or a long sleeve by next week. Tonight we'll have another round of fog for those of you driving early. Half-mile visibilities. Well, you've seen this before, so just plan accordingly. It's going to be a little on the soupy side out there until about 8 or 9 o'clock. Take a look at the big picture across North America. You can see how we're clear as a bell. We'll look at storm number 1. That one's now moving up into Canada. Storm number 2 is coming behind it, but you can see nothing's really moving in our direction. We're getting that dry northwest wind. Now, as we get to Friday, we get the tail end of a little front that comes through that may have some clouds and maybe a sprinkle, but in terms of any real rain, won't have anything to work with. But it will give us a little cooler weather, and then we'll get that dry northwesterly flow behind it, which will keep us sunny and clear and a little cooler, but yeah, nothing in terms of precipitation. So that's kind of the downside of all of this. So we'll take a look at your day planner for tomorrow in the Port Lavaca area. Down in Calhoun County, you're going to be cloudy and foggy early. You'll get a little bit of afternoon sun and up to about a 76. And then in Cuero, you'll be cloudy and foggy early and then partly cloudy in the afternoon. The wind, I think, is going to be a little stronger than this, probably in the, I don't know, 15, 20 mile an hour range. So we'll call it a little breezy. I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. So we take a look at our 7 days. So obviously tomorrow is Ash Wednesday, but we'll get to 81 and then 85 Thursday, 84 Friday. Here's our little front. By Saturday, we'll feel a north wind, and that will actually cool us down. Next week will be in the 60s. Ooh, winter returns. Overnight lows getting down into the 40s. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Don, over to you.
Winter in the 60s. Brr. All right, thank you, Max. Straight ahead at 5. A federal court ruling sparks a major tax battle over deadlines and penalties. Stocks holding steady today after a record week last week. The Dow up just 32 points, the S&P 500 following up just 7 points. The NASDAQ also closing in the green, up over 31 points. Oil, though, finishing lower, down 63 cents. A barrel now sits at $62.26. A major fight in the works over taxes. The Wall Street Journal says a federal court ruling from last year could mean that tax deadlines did not actually apply from January 20th of 2020 until July of 2023. That's because of tax rules for disaster victims and presidential disaster declarations around COVID-19. Some taxpayers say they should never have been charged penalties. More court battles are expected. Elon Musk's Grok chatbot faces yet another European investigation. It's from the Data Protection Commission, an EU watchdog group out of Ireland. Grok is a feature of X, and it's under fire for producing sexualized images of real people, including some children. The commission says it will examine whether the platform complied with the EU's General Data Protection Regulation. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is set to face what could be his most critical audience yet. He's scheduled to testify in Los Angeles tomorrow in a lawsuit brought by a woman and her mother. The now 20-year-old claims Instagram and YouTube purposefully designed features on their platforms to addict young users. She says she became addicted as a child and it harmed her mental health. Stay with us. We take a look at the nation's biggest Mardi Gras celebration. Throw me some beads while you're there. People are celebrating Mardi Gras in New Orleans today with parades, revelry, and costumes. Mardi Gras is also known as Fat Tuesday. It falls the day before Ash Wednesday. The Big Bash marks the end of carnival season and a final chance for indulgence, feasting, and revelry. And maybe some drinking, before the Christian Lent period of sacrifice and reflection. New Orleans has the nation's largest and best-known celebration. Today, parade goers line the streets hoping to catch beads, toys, and trinkets that are unique to each parade. I have never been to that one in New Orleans, but and strike up the bands. They're always fantastic. But I bet you it's crowded, busy, fun.
Yeah, I like the way you use revelry as another word for drinking.
Synonymous at times. I mean, you can have revelry without drinking.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Well, that's what I've read in books that I read, when I was cold sober.
The idea is that they buy you one, you can walk around the street with your drink. So,
well, yeah.
Other places you can't do that.
That's right.
Anyway, those folks are going to have some great weather. Every now and then they've had, pretty lousy weather for Mardi Gras, but this year it's all good. It's kind of like us. They'll be in the 80s, just like us. We're going to be in the 80s for the rest of this week, but then that little front you see right there on Friday night will give us a bit of a cool down. And like I said, on Sunday, we're going to be in the chilly 60s, but overnight lows will be in the 40s. So yeah, we'll be back to wearing sweaters or jackets, or maybe not.
But no wool caps.
No
wool
earmuffs,
caps.
none of that.
No.
Won't need the mucklucks and the long johns.
Not this year. Thank you, Mac. Thanks for being with us. Our next newscast in 30 minutes after World News Tonight.